You are now listening to N21FM, a Pokemon podcast. I'm your host, Glenn. I'm joined, as always, by my wonderful co-host, Johnny. And we're joined here in the studio today, actually, by our good friend in the community, Powers. Powers is Wartman, right? Yeah?
Yep.
Outstanding. We have a lot of fun stuff to talk about today. But I want to know from you guys, how are you doing? Johnny, let's start with you. You doing all right this week?
Yeah, doing pretty good. We're just kind of same as always, progressing, slowly further and further towards, the kid coming. So we've been getting some more stuff straightened up. We've been pulling some stuff out of storage and getting things organized in our place today a little bit, and just kind of getting in gear.
You settled in with the new place?
Oh God, we're settled in, yeah, and we're wow, 3 weeks now. I need to double check my calendar now because I'm bad with the date of the week, unfortunately. Yeah, it's a little less than 3 weeks, just under.
Oh, jeez.
To 40?
Yeah. That's projected too.
So 3 to 5 weeks.
No. Yeah. So
It's
probably about 3 weeks. We just hit 38 this past week. So yeah,
dude, the last little bit takes for it. Time slows it down like crazy.
Wild. Wow, that's good to hear, though. Powers, you doing all right this week, buddy?
I'm doing great. Yeah, busy, but that's constant. So
sure. I'm kind of the same. Yeah, it's been a busy week for me. I've been queuing up. I've been working actually like a lot on admin stuff for the show. Funny enough, we're like lining up interviews and stuff. We've got one big thing that I can't quite talk about yet coming up in June. But I was able to like reach out to Hunter Saldana again next week. We're having him on. So we've been trying to set up time for that. It's always difficult getting him on because he is like 12 hours ahead of us. So it's just a scheduling nightmare more so than usual. But other than that, it's been pretty good. Before we begin, I want to make sure that I plug all of our good stuff over on Patreon, patreon.com/terminalcreative, where for $5 a month, you can get early access to every episode of the show, as well as access to our bonus show, N21 Plus, the 18 and up show, where we discuss some 21 and up topics and cut loose a little bit. That tier also will get you access to a monthly Q&A feed, where you can every month get a heads up of who all we're gonna have on the show, as well as have an opportunity to shoot some questions our way and have them read on the show to those guests. That feature is available at the $5 tier, just like everything else, along with early access, all that good stuff. So I think it's a pretty good deal. $5 a month. That's like the cost of an average pack. Our current stretch goals for the Patreon support will include some higher quality recording equipment, as well as an RSS feed and subscription. And for us to get a subscription, goodness, I can't talk today, to the premium version of Riverside FM to help like just get more content out there. Sorry for the long kind of like ad read, but it's just we don't plan on running any kind of ads or taking any kind of sponsorships. So if you guys enjoy the content, be sure to support us that way. But if you don't want to spend any money to support us, a great way to do that for free is just to like the video on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, leave us reviews on Spotify, and all those good things. But those links will all be in the description below, so be sure to check those out. As well as any links that Powers has for socials will be below as well. But with all that out of the way, goodness, that feels rough. I haven't had to do a CTA like that since my HelloFresh contract. That's brutal. It was wild. But without any further ado, I'd like to introduce our guests formally so we can get some information on him. Powers, Wartman, welcome to the show. I'm super glad to have you on. Sorry. Powers is a really slept on local player. He's definitely not one of the regional grinders, but he is exceptional at the game. And also manages to somehow be really good and also have like at least one son that's really, really good at the game as well. So Powers, tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm from North Carolina, born and raised. Lived in Charlotte for since 2013, so over 10 years now, which is pretty nuts to think about. And I was not always a TCG gamer. I used to mostly play tabletop board games like Warhammer and Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. But when my son was about 8, I think, we started, we kind of got into back into the TCG it was actually, we were at the beach. I remember it was 2022. We were at the beach and McDonald's had their packs, and we got a few, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Then we were in a toy store later that week, and like they had it's the arena set. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, the Battle Academy.
Battle Academy, that's it. Yeah, and we picked that up and like just like grinded that for a while, and then when we got home, I realized, well, I already knew there was Dead Elf, obviously, and I knew they existed, but didn't realize what the sort of the competitive scene looked like, or like what like locals were like, or anything like that. Really had little to no knowledge of the TCG post like Neo Genesis, basically.
Okay.
So because I played as a kid, and I never really played that much. Like my big thing was we did Pokemon. My brother and I did Pokemon League at Books A Million. But we weren't like, we never played tournaments or anything. For that, you just kind of showed up and you had to play games to get the stamps, and then you got promos and that sort of thing. But, but I left it pretty quickly. I jumped from Pokemon right into like HeroClix, which was my first miniatures game, and then from there very quickly into like Warhammer and all. And that was when I was like maybe 11 or 12. But no, it's been super fun. I'm probably sometimes I think I'm more into it than Hank is. I do all of our we kind of share our collection. Like I have some cards. I have a few cards that are mine, but they're mostly like his cards or our cards. Like if I'm doing a trade, I like run it by him because I don't want to. I have traded a card he really liked before, and it was like,
oh no,
not pretty. I ended up getting another one later on. I think I bought one at Rally Squirrel, or traded for one from somebody at like a loss, like to get it back.
Do you remember the card?
It was the Tapu Koko from Paradox, the SIR.
Oh yeah, that SIR bags too.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah,
that's a reasonable card for him to get upset about, to be honest.
Yeah. Jeez. But I do have my own. I do have a small personal collection of I collect Tomokazu Kamaya cards. He's the artist who did like the Galarian Slow King V. He has like 200. Yeah. He did Dreepy. He's done a ton. He has a Morlul and more recently, and there was something in Destin Rivals. He had one. He hasn't had a really good illustration rare since Paldea. He has the 3 Frigibax. He has the Frigibax line that looks like Godzilla. That's right. Him.
Yes.
And I just like his
very
style.
distinct style. His style.
Yeah, I think they're really funny and like interesting. And there's a few other artists in the same vein. Like Yukiko Boba's another one I like, but I collect those.
He did the promo Brute Bonnet.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the Drowsy from Scarlet Violet base. Yeah, he's got some cool cards.
What the heck? He did the Eevee and Snorlax tag team alt art.
I don't have that one yet. I haven't found it for a reasonable price yet. But I have most of his stuff from since Sword and Shield, pretty much. I managed to score a ton of his like older commons from Maz, who ran Dead Elf. He brought in like a big stack of his old cards for Jeff or for Brett to sell, and for like $1 each or whatever. And I got a ton of stuff. I have like an old Pidgeotto of his, like a ton of interesting stuff. And I have his first card, and I actually just got one that I was missing. That was the Onyx from the Classic Collection.
Oh yeah,
the Japanese Classic Collection. It's like holographic. It's old art, but it's it's like it was a newer release card that I didn't have. So I just got that recently from Rally Squirrel.
That's super cool.
That's really
cool. Sorry, that was quite the tangent.
I love that Fusion Strike Oricorio he does.
Yeah, that's another really nice one. Yeah. That's on the front page, I think.
Yeah, I didn't even realize how many cards he does that I love.
Oh, dude,
he does Shelled Survival Shedinja. That rocks.
Yeah, he's got so much stuff.
One of the cards that I remember from at least when I was a kid, that I saw in his collection of art was this the double gust of the Moo Moo Milk from like way back then.
Moo Moo Milk was Moo Moo Milk. I think Pokemon March and Muscle Man were his like first 3 cards or something like that.
Yeah, Pokemon March. I don't think I had Pokemon March, but I did have Moo Moo Milk and Double Gust, and those were really cool. The Focus Band one is really cool too, with like
the shop
just like tying it onto his head.
Focus Band. I said Muscle Man.
Oh, that's awesome. So
yeah, but I really like him. Fun. I bring that binder every now and then, but nobody ever really wants to look at it. So I'll bring it next time I show up.
Please, yeah,
definitely.
Now I want to see it. This is awesome. Cool, man. That's such an interesting like point. We never get people who like have a specific collection on. Like the last person I think we did was April, but that was before she started collecting Akira's or like when she just started. So like we haven't had a chance to talk to anybody about like collecting stuff. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I guess from there, like, is Pokemon your only card game? I know you've told us that or at least we've had some experience talking to you. Like you did some Magic the Gathering for a while as well, right?
Not really. I played a little bit for like maybe a couple months in middle school. I had a deck, right? But I never really got into. My brother was huge into Magic. But I never really played it. So I was very basically familiar with the rules, but actually fairly recently I've been into it really heavy.
Nice.
Just playing like kitchen table style, just getting like, I ordered some bulk on Amazon. It's like $25 for 1,000 cards.
Nice.
And some of them are okay. Like, and I bought.
Are you doing like? Go ahead.
I was saying I picked up some consignment like starter friendly decks from your local game store next to Raleigh.
Oh yeah. Don't they have like the free decks that people are supposed to give out like on a weekly thing?
These were ones that people like built and put on consignment for people to buy. They were a little pricey. They were like $20, but like you get a solid. They're better than the Wizards starter stuff would be sort of.
I've got a couple of Wizard starters and they're not good.
No, they're not. But and my brother-in-law is he's a little older, but he is been a big Magic player for years and years, since like the late 90s.
Nice.
And his kids are in. That's actually his son's main game is Magic. And he's the same age as Hank. They're like 2 weeks apart. And we're going to the beach with them in a couple weeks, so I'm excited to play some real games because I'm too bad to go to like an F&M. Like,
F&Ms are scary, man.
Yeah, they are.
They're scary. Like that's luckily like when a lot of people choose to play Commander, which I have a Commander deck that I like to play, because my buddy got it for me for my birthday, and he also like let me go through his bulk to upgrade it. So I've gotten pretty much the whole deck for free.
That's nice.
I spent a little bit of money. I think when Dockside Extortionist got banned, I had to buy. It happened to be at the same time that the Extra Life Secret Lair was offering up a Mana Geyser art. So I was like, oh, whatever. I'll support St. Jude and also like get a card I need. And like the blue card that it comes with pretty much pays for the cost of the Secret Lair, so I don't mind that at all.
Yeah. The craziest thing is like learning there's so many cards to learn.
Yeah.
It makes Pokemon look like paltry in size.
Yeah. It's true.
It hasn't, it's got maybe like 7-8 years on Pokemon as far as like history, but like they're like their sets, because Pokemon has like it only has so many Pokemon, right? And that number hasn't grown.
We just hit 1,000.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there's lots of interesting trainers, but the body of stuff you need to know, unless you get into like GLC or Expanded, is much, much smaller. And that's honestly was the biggest thing putting me off of doing it is just having to learn stuff. But it's going okay. I've kind of found a niche I like, and
that's good.
Yeah,
that's super cool.
Last Magic question before we kind of move on. Do you have a color combo that you prefer so far?
I think I'm a big aggro red, like goblins.
Yeah,
because that was the deck I had in middle school, and I always thought it was super cool. And they're funny. Like the cards are funny.
Yeah,
like, and they're it's simple. I don't have to think very hard. I guess I'm a big like Beefcake Turbo style Pokemon player. So
No way.
You know,
Who
give
would've
me a
guessed?
big rock and
Every time
Oh,
I play,
man.
for context for the viewers, every time I played against Powers, it's been against like Ancient Boxer Roaring Moon.
Yep.
Oh
Yep.
my goodness. That's awesome. That's really cool. I enjoy Red as well. I think that it's funny that one of the like most iconic creatures for Red is named Cranko. That's just really silly, and I love it. Johnny, do you have an experience with Magic?
I have absolutely none whatsoever.
It's okay, keep it that way,
Unfortunately for me, unfortunately for me, it's, or maybe fortunately, I don't know. I never ended up playing Magic, and yeah, I don't know. Like sometimes I wish maybe I tried to, but you know, I think at this point I'm going to stick with one card game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it looks like we lost Powers for a second. I'm going to give him a second to come back. Okay, we're sorry about that. Very weird technical difficulties tonight. Riverside has been a little strange this evening. So if another interruption like that happens, we apologize. But back to your regularly scheduled program. We were just talking to Powers about his affinity for turbo decks, and I thought it was silly that Cranko Mob Boss exists because it's a funny name.
it's one of my faves. Love that card.
I love that his name is Cranko and that he's a mob boss because I never think of goblins having organized crime.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. Okay, where do we even go from there? So I wanted to bring this up, or Johnny, you wanted to bring up something because it's in Powers' description in the Google Doc, but we didn't go over it in the intro. You can just go ahead and go for it. I'll bring up like what I've heard, but or just what I saw in the post. But
so
go ahead.
Powers kind of threw this one out one day in the Discord for us, but yeah, Powers is apparently good friends with Luke Combs, famous country singer, and all around
Halo fanatic,
beer enjoyer,
which is awesome.
Super cool. I kind of want to know how did that come about? How did that start up? And yeah,
we just kind of went to high school together, and like he's in like I'm still really close with all my buds from back then, and we've just stayed friends. And he happened to become world renowned as a country singer. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
I feel like
it's kind of weird. Yeah, it's a little weird, but he's a super nice guy. Like he's a normal dude. You know,
I believe
he's
it. He seems
in
like
the group chat all the time. Like sends pictures of his kids and stuff. And
that's so cool.
Sick.
That's so cool.
How long until we get him at a Pokemon local?
Oh God, I don't know about that.
Do you think you'd be able to convince him?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh no, absolutely not.
That'd be really funny though.
He does not like getting. He does. I'm sure a lot of famous people are like this. He really dislikes like getting mobbed in public.
That's very fair.
Which most of his like fans are pretty like. I think just by nature of like the clientele, if you will, like are a little more respectful. But like he definitely gets noticed, like, and has been for. I remember once I was home in Asheville for Christmas, I think, and we'd all gone out drinking beer, and he and I stepped out to go up to a head shop to buy. I think I was trying to. I don't remember what one of us was buying, but and it, like and this was before he was like huge, and there were still people being like, "Oh my God, you're Luke Combs," and maybe it's because we were in his hometown or whatever, but
sure.
Even then, like it was pretty wild, and I've gone to a few bachelor parties for some of our other friends, and like we always go out the back door. We try to go out the back door and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
That's super fair. That's super cool,
I guess it's true. Like he wasn't always Luke Combs. He was just your boy in high school.
Yeah. It's
super cool.
But I think the post you're referring to, there's a picture of him playing a video game in a bedroom.
Yeah,
like, looking just like kind of dumb. Oh no, it was. I remember this very distinctly. It was Oblivion. He was in.
That's right.
He was in the town of Kvatch, which was destroyed. You can see it in the background. And it was kind of funny. Like, I'm surprised that like Bethesda didn't pick up on this because that aired like not even a week before Oblivion Remastered came out, and they totally could have
Dude,
done some
they could've
great marketing
capitalized
with
on
it.
that.
And I
would've-
put that picture on Facebook or on MySpace actually, and it
Whoa.
stayed up for. And I think somebody dredged it up, and I've seen it a few other places. But I think I still have the camera that picture was taken on. I may not have the actual card, but I definitely still have the camera that picture was taken on.
That's awesome.
So yeah, and the hosts were talking about if it was a real picture, and he admitted that it was. So
Yeah, that's so cool, man.
That's so fun, man. Yeah, that's really awesome.
It's a big reminder of like how small the world is.
Yeah,
everyone,
I know, right?
Everyone knows someone famous at some point. I'm sure.
True.
It's almost guaranteed, but that's really, really cool.
Yeah, certainly.
Oh man.
We've kind of talked about your personal life and like your hobbies outside of Pokemon and things like that.
Yeah.
Do you have any? What's your history like, Powers, with Pokemon as a franchise, or was it just like the TCG? Did you ever play any of the video games as well?
Oh yeah. I got I remember I got Yellow, and I got a Game Boy Pocket, which I still have, and Pokemon Yellow, which I still have. I just put a new battery in it a couple weeks ago. And Hank has been playing it. And I got that for my 10th birthday. And so in 1999 or whatever.
Whoa, before I was alive. Crazy.
Yeah. And I played and I remember I then quickly moved on to Gold, because me and my brother would always get like the alternate versions of things.
Yes.
So I was always Blue and he was Red, and then I had Yellow, and then we got I was Gold and he got Silver, right? But I had to play mine on the Pocket, which was not in color. You could still play it.
Yeah.
But so anytime it was night, I like couldn't really see anything, and like
that's really bad.
Didn't really know it was night because I had to change the I don't know, it was rough. But and then after that I didn't really touch any Pokemon games until many years later. I picked up after that I think it was I got an emulator on my phone and played Heart Gold. So that was that was Heart Gold in like 2019. Like it wasn't like
so good.
So and then a couple years ago we got my other son a Switch, and then got Let's Go, which Let's Go is my favorite one. I wish they would do Let's Go, but for the Gold and Silver story. The Johto story, just because that's always been my favorite, just because probably it's the one I put the most time into.
Gen 2's really
and then I've played Scarlet, gotten pretty far. Every now I go through periods where I'll play it real heavy and do like raids and stuff for a month or two, and then just kind of forget about it for not touch it. But I do that with a lot of stuff,
Yeah, I totally get that.
No, that's super cool.
I'm halfway through a book right now that I'm still trying to work on and finish up.
Oh man, I was gonna say, okay, sell me on Let's Go, because I put like 2 hours into it and I put it down after that. And this was like 5 years ago.
It's easier. So the thing I like about it is it takes out a lot of the like grind from the old games.
Yeah.
Because like if you've ever played Yellow, to get through the first, there's lots of ways to do it, but unless you're in a speed run, to get through the first gym, you pretty much have to get a Mankey to a level 11 and a Butterfree to level 10, and hope that he doesn't hit you with a rock throw if you have the Butterfree out, right? And that's otherwise, but that takes such a long time to do.
For sure.
Because and just like the way that you have, and I really love how they changed how leveling works with the newer. I guess it's like easy mode or whatever to old gamers like
it's
me,
like perpetual like EXP share, right?
Yeah, exactly. Which I think makes it so much, because it really sucked, especially in like Gold, where you don't get to see a Houndour until you're in freaking Kanto.
Yeah,
like outside of Saffron City, and the highest they are is like level 25, and that sucks. Like by then you're running like 50s and 60s. You know how long it takes to get something from 25 to 50? back then when you're not just able to get rare candy whenever you want from raids and stuff. It's awful. It's so
no.
So you miss out on a
Absolutely.
lot, I think.
Mhm.
And I guess maybe if you're playing competitively, you're gonna put that work in. But like, no one played competitively back then for one.
No, that's fair.
But for two, but I really love the coolest part about Let's Go is the way you can train stuff really, really fast if you play with both controllers.
Yeah.
This is kind of a little hack. I don't know if you know this, Johnny. So if you
Okay.
get both controllers and run it like you're playing co-op, because the co-op is like fake.
There's a
co-op. It's not even
co-op?
real co-op.
Okay.
Yeah, if you shake
there's
the
a
extra
co-op mode. Yeah.
Joy-Con, and an alternate gender of your character will drop in, and they can run around together.
Yeah,
And
and
awesome.
they have your party basically.
And you can throw ball. The thing about it though is you can throw balls together.
Mhm.
So right, you would think it's hard to nail a perfect throw with two controllers.
Sure.
What you do is you put them on the little holder that holds both of them, and you just do it that way.
Okay.
And every time, if you nail like one of the red or blue, like the big or little ones, the giant or tiny Pokemon. So first throw, like on a like size record, you're gonna get like, I think I got like a 24x XP once on something. Like it's nuts.
Okay.
So stack that with like a catch, the catch bonus.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
My thing I would do is I would go to Cinnabar Island and catch Raticates, because they're not that hard to catch. They're really super common. And because a lot of people say do chances, but I had terrible luck with that. Like you'd get, because first you have to build up the catch bonus to make the chances show up. Yeah. Right. And as soon as you miss one, you're done. Like you have to start over.
It resets.
But like if you do that, you can get stuff like from 1 to 75 in like 30 minutes. It's nuts.
That's crazy.
It's super fun.
Okay.
And I have like a Alolan Raticate that's like, I can solo the Elite.
That's right. You can get the regional variants in it, can't you?
Because you also, you can, but you also can, when you catch duplicates, you can trade them to Oak, and it gives you like the little speed. It's like in the mobile game, right? You get the candy,
it's like in Go.
Like Rattata candy. Yeah. So if you're catching, that Pokemon, then you trade in like 300 of them, then you can just like max out its stats. So it's pretty fun.
Okay.
So if you do your research, unlike I did, and you look up what you can actually trade to home and then move into Scarlet, you can basically get pretty crazy stuff.
Okay.
That way.
All right.
So, plus, you can bring stuff in from Go. You can bring stuff in from your Go account and catch it in the park there, which isn't always easy.
Have a Go account. I don't think I ever made one on mine.
Which I don't play Go. Okay. There was a period when I worked uptown, I played a good bit just because it was so easy to get stop. You could just sit there and spin like 10 stops from anywhere. Like and so I had a bunch of stuff in my account that I'd caught years ago that I was able to just like dump into the park and catch it. So that was kind of fun.
Okay.
That's super cool.
But I don't
know. It's fun. It's real lightweight. Plus, there's some nice in-game stuff. Like every single of the Pokemon has a master you can find that are hidden all over the world. Even this is actually the hardest one, Metapod and Kakuna, because they don't have an attack. You can't use one that you evolved, so you have to get it. You have to use all your Harden and then use Struggle to win. And you're fighting like a level. You're fighting like a level 80 or something when you do it with perfect stats.
Oh my god!
And they're not. They're really, really hard. They're really hard.
Silly.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
It's fun. It's pretty fun.
You've got my attention.
Fair enough.
It's pretty fun.
Okay. Yeah, I bought Let's Go Eevee like back in 2019, I think. Something like that.
But plus your starter is like beast mode. Like you get they're perfect statted. Like they get really cool moves.
I was gonna say they have to get like something insane.
Pikachu gets one. I can't remember the name of it. It's like Sparky Dash or something, and it always hits first. Always critical hits. Like power 75 or something. Like
what the?
It's so good.
My God. Priority
so
1
good.
crit 75 damage.
And there's you don't have to have HM slaves or anything. Like it's really nice.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It basically fixes all the annoying stuff from the original Game Boy games, but has the same story, which is what I can
get behind that then. Yeah, like hyper casual version of it to like make it more approachable.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's something that I've never like messed with before. Like I did it for a couple hours, and I was just like, I felt like I was getting bored with it back then, and so I like stopped. and
they learn the mechanics of like catch bonuses and stuff.
Yeah,
because you can also, the other thing about it is once you get really high catch bonus, the Pokemon you're catching have really much better stats, like really good stats.
Yeah, for sure.
And I guess the last thing I'll say about that is the bosses, like the boss trainers, are a lot harder. Because in the old games, once you learn basic stab, it's stupid easy to just solo the Elite Four or whatever. But once they changed up the AI, they changed up the moves and how a lot of that works. So some of the Rockets Pokemon or the Rocket bosses get pretty tough. Like especially there's one that has like a Weezing, I think. So Weezing has Levitate, right? So you can't hit it with ground.
Yeah.
Right. So you're gonna send out probably a Psychic, right? Yeah. Oh, he has like Dark Pulse or something, and just one shot. And like the highest special stat he can.
Dark Pulse special Weezing. That's crazy.
It has like flamethrower. Weezing is a crazy.
Yes.
He has flamethrower, Thunderbolt, like a dark move, and of course.
Gross. That sounds like a Weezing I built in Gen 4, actually.
That rocks.
Yeah. So, but like the train and some of the Elite Four people are like that. Like they made the trainers a lot smarter, I guess. And that was my first time dealing with it. I'm sure some of the game, like Sun and Moon's probably like that, and like some of those other games. But like I wasn't around for that, so I don't know.
Yeah.
That's fair.
No, that's
totally
super
fair.
Oh man. All right, sorry to take it on a segue there.
No, there you go.
The only other thing I think I was going to ask real quick about Pokemon before we kind of move on to some other stuff was through all of your time with Pokemon, was there ever like any specific Pokemon that kind of became your favorite, either because it was on a team that you played, or even with like the TCG, you just played like a certain card and you came to like that Pokemon, something like that?
I think I really like Annihilate just because it's like kind of the idea is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like he got so mad he died.
He got so mad he died.
True.
That's how I feel in traffic on 85.
Oh my god, mauling.
Right.
Literal mauling.
Yeah, he mauled to death.
Oh my god.
That's cool. Did he come from a team or just because like you just liked him?
I just like him. Yeah.
That's
awesome. I have one in my Scarlet game that's like pretty good. I built like a ghost based team that I played for until it started getting beat by stuff too much, and then I switched it up. But it was a fun one to make. Like it had like I think Decidueye.
Decidueye is ghost, isn't he?
Skeledirge. The one I never got, I needed was a good water. And I wanted the Basket Legion, but I never got. I could never find the raid for it for some reason.
Basket Legion's good. You could get what's that? The dead Corsola. What's that one?
The Cursola.
Can you get that one?
Oh, Cursola. Oh, maybe it's definitely not in Scarlet Violet.
Yeah, I think that's like you have to like catch it from like Sun and Moon and like home it or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's cool though.
God,
ghost team that rocks. I've been thinking about how I would do like a bug team that's just like. Because I realized recently that I'm a big bug enjoyer, so I'm like, all right, guaranteed I gotta have Scolipede and Centiscorch, and then it's like Galvantula's the goat. Put in a Rockwood if I have to. Yeah, I don't know.
I did it with a few other types too. I did a dragon one. That one was kind of fun. There's a few others I threw together. I just have them in different like boxes lined up. Like they're not all done or anything, but yeah, that's I'd say an Annihilate is probably up there right now.
Yeah,
sweet
for sure.
I guess with all that kind of answered, let's kind of move on. We specifically invited you here because you actually commented last week that with all the new dads coming into our community, that it would be cool to have somebody on to talk about like being a parent.
Can you hear my children in the background?
I can, in fact. I think it might get cut out
they're going
in
to
post.
bed, so
I think it might get cut out in post, but I definitely hear them right now through Riverside. And so like we've got another episode with a local dad. We've got Andy who runs the kids league at
I love Andy. I didn't know
Andy's
he'd been
great.
on. I haven't gotten through the backlog of episodes yet, so I'm working on it.
He is season 2, episode 2, titled BDIF Best Dad in Format. I'm very
nice.
proud of that title.
I'm gonna check that one out. That's a solid title.
But we had a good I had a good conversation with him. I think it was before I had recruited Johnny, but I want to ask some of the same questions I asked him and a couple of new ones as well, because we've had time to reflect. And you also, I don't know if Andy has any other kids, but I know you've got quite the young army rising up.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess kind of the first one, like very plain and simple, like what's it like being just a pokedad, right? Like you are a player of Pokemon, an enjoyer of the franchise, and also the parent of a Pokemon fan. What is that like? What's that dynamic like? Talk to me.
It is I mean, it's not a huge deal most of the time, I guess. It's it came pretty naturally. We've always, my partner and I have always like, I've had to work on this more just because I'm into a lot of like nerdy stuff.
Yeah.
But we don't want to like push our interests on to our kids that much. And some people like to do that. That's fine, whatever. I have no judgment either way. But our philosophy was let them, discover things. So I didn't like, he knew what Pokemon was when he was in like kindergarten, maybe. Because he came home and asked what a Pikachu was or something, which was kind of fun. But I never like pushed it on him at all. We didn't own a console for the kids anyways until like I said, like 2022, I think. Maybe no. When did Scarlet and Violet come out?
2022.
22.
It had to be. So. I'd assume so.
Yeah, I think we got
was the start of the Scarlet Violet era for the cards, so I would assume the game had to come out in the fall.
2022, November 18th, 2022.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I think we got it the next year then. Yeah, we got a Switch like in 2022. Oh, either way.
Yeah.
But it's been a really nice thing to share with my older son, and my next oldest son is getting into it. I don't know if he'll ever get to the same level or the same interest level of playing, just because he has different interests in general. But Hank and I we've always shared more hobbies. I think it's like an oldest kid kind of thing. Like they tend to like latch on to their parents' hobbies just because like they've been around longer, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting thing in parenting is like usually like the more kids you have, the younger ones are like pick stuff up from a much broader sphere, just in all areas of life. And they, because they're always like they're exposed to more, I guess, and they're also often trying to catch up with siblings as far as like, they see what their siblings are into, so they try that out, or like, so Hank and I have always had shared interests. Like I fish a lot. I'm a big angler.
Nice.
And we've always done that. But but lately it's mostly been cards. And it's nice to have something like that. It's consistent. It gets me out of the house, which is nice. It's you don't have much of a social life when you have 4 kids most of the time.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah.
So it's been, and I was really lacking of that until I started coming out to play. And I try to keep it really consistent, at least, once a week. Sometimes twice if I'm lucky. That is that can be a bit of a balancing act. So
yeah, definitely. Cool, man. I'm glad to hear that. That's really that's an interesting perspective. I feel like a lot of the times, like most of the Poke parents that I end up talking to are like, oh, I loved it. I had to share it with somebody. It's cool that your philosophy about it has always been kind of like, it'll just be there if he wants to do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's how the world is in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, that's super cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I gotta ask, as someone who is getting ready to welcome a daughter into the world, and you kind of touched on it there a little bit at the end, but yeah, how does parenting like kind of affect that like personal movement towards your hobbies? You know, how does how are you able to find the time to balance between like your tasks as like your tasks and not I shouldn't say tasks, right? Like what you want to do as a parent, what you want to do as a partner, and what you want to do for yourself, you know, as someone who wants to have time for all of those things, you know.
Oh man.
We're just jumping right into the deep end here.
Well, it kind of depends on your personal relationship with your partner and what sort of roles and responsibilities you share and take on between the two of you. I would recommend therapy before you need it.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
But no, with kids, no matter how many you have, when you first have them, there's like probably 3 to 6 months of where you're just like keeping your head above water.
Yeah.
And you're like I was shocked. Brian came out to locals on Friday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was like, how did he get here? But he was there. He was tired, but he was there. And that's awesome. Like, but it's important to try to do stuff like that. You're not going to feel like you can or should or want to necessarily, and especially in the early days. Mm-hmm. But if you are able to like get a little time, that can be like insanely rejuvenating.
Yeah. For sure.
But you know, you have to like it's all a balancing act, but you have to like pay attention to that stuff. Like if you neglect your social life and you know pour everything into being one role, whether that be like a partner or a parent, you need to do that sometimes, obviously. But like if you consistently neglect it for years on end, then that's going to come back to bite you. So it's important to kind of to find ways to squeeze that in. And I will say, so I'm thinking back to like when right before we had our second kid, I had the like time and space to get back into wargaming. Right, I hadn't played in a while. I lived really close to the Games Workshop up in University. I don't know if that one's still there or not, but and I found a few dudes who were into the game, which was about to die at the time. And we actually brought it back locally right around the time. There was a big push around the world actually to save the game. And actually, it's not because we did this, but like it kind of coincided with the game getting a rejuvenation, and it came back, and they're still selling it today and still making new stuff. And so I had the time then with he would have been going on 3. Hank was going on 3. Julia was pregnant. You know, but then, you know, late 2016, my second son was born. There was like a good chunk of time where that just had to stop pretty much. And you know, that hobby in particular is interesting because you can do a lot of stuff on your own because there's a lot of like painting and modeling and that sort of thing that requires a lot of like solo time. So that was probably helpful. I don't know how I'd manage to stay into cards if you can't get out to play, you know. Have people over if you can. I don't know. That's a different burden in itself though, like trying to have guests over when you have a baby, especially if they don't have kids. Like my house is like a freaking bomb went off like 99% of the time. But you learn to not care. It doesn't, because it doesn't really matter. Like, you know, you keep it like safe and you know, sanitary enough. But I hope I answered
also
your
if
question.
I can interject as the friend
as
the friend who has no kids, I can confirm that we don't care what your place looks like. So don't ever let that stop you.
Thank you for saying that.
That's
absolutely
nice to hear as someone,
of course,
as someone who's like
listen,
going to like I'm like Cassie and I are both very much like, oh, you know, like a clean space and like a tidy space is, you know, like epitome of like keeping yourself stress free, you know. So it's I'm like just trying to mentally prepare for that, and like, yep, it's just gonna be a mess.
Yeah.
Are you guys like nervous, excited, like don't know how to feel?
Kind of both of that, really. I'm more than anything, I'm just excited. Like I'm ready to just do all the dad stuff. I don't know.
The really crazy part, and this is gonna make sense after your daughter's born, but like a baby's gonna come out.
Yeah.
Like a human baby.
Yeah.
It's
Another
nuts.
creature.
It's insane. Because right now you're like, oh, I'm having a baby. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
An actual human's going to come out.
And then a whole baby is there.
Oh, and you have to keep it alive.
Yeah.
No pressure, bro.
Oh,
I'm
good for it.
I'm only half joking.
No.
It is pretty
funny.
It is pretty nuts. It is pretty nuts that, at least if you're having a baby in the hospital, like you have this baby and it may be your first baby and they take care of you in the hospital for a couple of days and they're like, all right, see you later. If anything goes wrong, you have to go to jail.
Yep.
Also, that will be $1 million for this day.
Yeah. We paid our first birth off a week before our second son was born.
Oof. Yeah.
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 But our last two were born at home, and that's way cheaper.
Yeah. No,
Doula.
that's fair.
Get our doula.
Yeah, we're doing the hospital visit for this one. I think
Reasonable.
luckily we're mostly covered. So
That seems reasonable, I think, for the first one, especially.
yeah, for sure.
You
Takes
gotta
a lot
the
of guts to
tutorial
do
first,
it.
man.
It takes a lot of guts to do your first one at home.
Yeah.
Oh,
A lot of
my God.
people do it, but it's tougher.
Yeah. Oh, I could imagine so. Oh man. Sorry to
Oh, man.
like hijack that one for myself a little bit, but like
No, that's
fine,
so
man.
good.
It's fine.
I guess we kind of talked about like the really deep stuff. I'd like to go into as well, like some of the maybe pull back just a little bit.
Yeah.
We can get back into more deep in a little bit. I'm happy to. I think it's really cool. I actually really love having this kind of transparent conversation happen on the show, especially because like I know Brian listens, and I know like Andy listens as well pretty consistently. I'm sure like he probably knows what he's doing with his kid, but like I know there's people I'm sure there's people who will come after who are like gonna be having a kid when they listen to this, and they're gonna be probably pissing themselves like, what do I do? But I'm curious as to like if there's any. I guess we kind of talked about some challenges, but are there any like specific challenges that come with? I guess I'll spin it like this. Are there any challenges that you face as a parent of somebody like Hank, who's also like particularly really good at the game? I've been smoked by Hank numerous times.
Oh, me too.
And
Yeah.
I've never been embarrassed about it. I've been embarrassed about it one time, and then I remembered, and then I played him a second time, and I'm like, oh no, this kid's actually just bananas at the game. Are there any challenges that kind of like you face with being the parent of a prodigy, I guess? So until I said that, don't give him a big head.
It can be. So I'll segue it or spin it like this. So I'm not like a sports guy, and I'm not a huge competitive person. I like to win, and I like to play to win sometimes, but like I never let it eat me up, or I try not to. So it's been a little challenging for me to like instill the like drive to win and do well. And celebrate winning and stuff without like the toxic nature of that, I guess. Because I've seen people at regionals. Because I sat through the two Charlotte regionals as a spectator, and there are definitely like parents that you are indistinguishable from like the angry parent at like a baseball game.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not like yelling at their kids and stuff, but you can tell they're like, you better get in there and like win and like,
oh no,
just it's like kind of weird, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
like
it's funny because those usually aren't the like people that are actually winning, you know what I mean? Because I don't know if you remember when they changed up the world's qualification for this season. Yeah. There was some podcast or channel that hosted a couple of parents of some of the top kids.
Yes.
To talk about it. I can't remember exactly.
There was
was it Lake of Rage?
It was Lake of Rage. Yeah. I remember exactly that episode.
Yes.
I remember listening to
that. And I'm 99% sure I've not met the those people, but been in the same room as them, and they're super sweet. Like they're super nice people. Like they're not. They're all just there to hang out with like the other parents that they see, right?
Yeah.
But I guess it's I guess a hard one was like teaching the game in a way that would like get him to like play at a higher level without like discouraging him. And he's probably going to listen to this, so and I think he might already know this, but like there were countless times where I could have won the game like very easily and just didn't, like chose not to, because he's not going to like the game if his dad just tables him, like that's not fun. And I've actually used that as advice for him teaching his siblings stuff. And I'm like, if you want to play a game with someone and you want them to actually get into this game and enjoy it and like understand it and like want to keep playing it with you, if you just like, because you know, kids are super competitive with their siblings, especially him and his younger brother. I'm like, you can't, like, sometimes it sucks to lose, but sometimes it's better to lose and know you could have won, but then you have someone to play with next time. You know what I mean?
That's way better. Yeah.
And but you have to balance that with, you can't just let them win.
Yeah.
No.
And that's tricky because sometimes you want to. Maybe they're having a bad day, right? Maybe they're feeling like they're not good at it or whatever. So you have to, it's kind of a balancing act, you know, and every kid's different. But I would say that was some of the like challenges early on. We've gone through some of that with Magic too, because like Magic's still new to both of us. But usually we're much more, he's older now, so we're a little more open. I'll just be like, hey, my hand's really good, but I won't play this card. Let's just keep it going so the game can keep going. You know?
I feel like you have that availability with Magic a lot more, because like with Pokemon, it's way more combo based. But with Magic, it's just like, I have like, I don't know, I'll just name a broken card I can think of off the top of my head. I have like Teferi's Protection in my hand right now. Or like, what's another bananas one? Like, or like, I guess I'll speak from knowledge I actually have. Is like, I have the World Gorger Dragon combo in my hand, like with Animate Dead, like, which is a game-ending combo. Like, but I'm not gonna play it because I would rather continue playing. Like, I think that's valuable. I think it's I think in a world where we kind of are incentivized to be ultra competitive at everything, because then everything becomes more profitable. Like, it's tough to still remember that like this is a game and we're having fun. And I'm also having an exchange with another person and player on the other side of the table. We're very much incentivized to kind of like forget that part. And I think it's valuable to not forget. It's really important to make sure that, you know, at the end of the day, you're two people sitting down playing, you know, you're playing a card game. There's Pikachus in there. That's that's just kind of all that's going on.
I don't know, man.
And I didn't even think about. Sorry, no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I don't know, man. My forearm muscle bound humanoid dude's gotta commit.
Gotta commit to it. Yeah, I guess so. That's just how it goes, man.
I do think there's a lot of like little sketches and comics and stuff of this, but like that mental imagery of like realistic Pokemon, like, and how it would actually play out is just hilarious to me. Like, like, what do you think a Machamp's gonna do to a freaking like I don't know, like a furret? Like, how do you think that's gonna go? How do you think that's really
going to end so badly?
I mean,
it's gonna be messy.
Just a guy. That's just a guy with two more arms.
Just remember that if we took like Pokedex entries as like canon, Lantern would be the strongest Pokemon in the world.
True, actually.
Because they say that Lantern supposedly swims on the bottom of the ocean and its light can be seen from the surface at night.
Which is nuclear levels of strong.
Yes. Yeah, that is the Earth would be incinerated if that happened.
And like,
with a real
and Magcargo is like the same temperature as the surface of the sun.
Yeah, pretty
or
much.
something like that. Canon Pokedex entries are bananas, and like heights and stuff too. Joltik, he's like this big.
Yep.
He's this small.
Yeah.
Joltik is
And, like-
literally tiny, and then it evolves into something that's like half the height of a human.
Oh, I like the one. There's one like cut I've seen of like this guy talking about how strong Ash is based on the Pokemon. He just like one arms.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
He's
yeah,
also
the
with
strength-
one arm.
Yeah.
He'll like hold up like Larvitar and like
Chart weighs like 400 pounds or something.
Larvitar. Yeah, some of these Pokemon are wildly heavy too.
Ash
He's got
is just
games,
jacked.
man. That's the real Machamp right there. It's just Ash Ketchum. Oh, that's
Oh
so
my
good.
God.
Yeah, absolutely wild.
Uh,
Oh man.
Oh, you're gonna make me yawn.
Excuse me. Sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I shouldn't even made noise because that's gonna be on the recording. Cool. What we kind of exhausted like a lot of the list of questions. Actually, we'll move to this one next before I start freestyling. How has playing Pokemon kind of like changed Hank? Like, how has it affected the way he thinks or interacts with people, or just things that you've noticed that have like come as a result of playing the game?
Oh, that's a great question, actually. He has. It's definitely helped his like like interpersonal self confidence.
Mhm.
I think, especially earlier on when he was younger, because like when you're 8 years old, like talking to like all adults are old at that point in your life,
Yeah.
right? So like, there's not much difference between like your dad and like a 20-year-old and like a 50-year-old. So like,
That's true.
being able to sit down and play a game with someone
yeah.
without too much pressure is like, that's kind of like impressive to do at that age. And I think you
Yeah.
see that in a lot of kids like kids who play Pokemon can be like super confident.
Yeah.
And like, even when they're like I freaking trucked this kid last night or on Friday night. Like he was playing Guardy, I was playing In. He prized
my
both his
God.
Gardevoirs.
Oh no!
Oh,
Like, it's already a bad matchup, but he stuck it out, man. He was like, all right, I think I can do this. I'm like, yeah, I don't think he got any prizes, but like, he stuck it out, and I was like, that's astounding confidence.
That's really
Yeah,
impressive.
He wasn't shook. And I think for Hank, like, that's it helps a lot with like being able to just like talk to anyone, and he's always kind of been precocious in that way.
Mhm.
But definitely that, and learning how to be competitive, and also more recently, this past regional in Atlanta that we went to. So in the prior years, I've always been like, hey, if you want to do well, you probably need to like do some practice, like get on live, we can play some games, like
Mhm.
spend some time every day for the 2 or 3 weeks leading up to it, put some reps in with your deck, really comfortable with it, because that's how you're going to do well. And this year he actually did, without me having to like, because in the past I'd have to like say that a bunch, and then it would be like the day or two before the tournament, I'm like, hey, you done any practicing? And he's like, no, I'll do some now, I guess. But this year he actually did sort of self-motivate to do that, and that I think that's and I'm sure he would have learned that with some other interest or hobby, but like it just happened to be Pokemon, which is kind of cool. I guess.
I think Pokemon does a good job of creating that environment, because like
Yeah, they do a really good job
Mhm.
of it, I will say, as a parent, and I actually have a degree in recreation management, so I'm familiar
What?
with how these things are supposed to be done. I don't
That's
use it, don't worry.
nobody
Don't
uses
have
a
money for
degree.
nothing. Yeah. But so it's I think they've done a pretty good job of building a league structure that is like not overly dominated by like adult egos, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it seems like most people, when they show up, understand that like you don't always like, you don't kowtow to kids, but you like defer
Yeah.
to like the kids. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you want to make sure the kids that are there are going to have a good time. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever seen anyone acting out, at Pokemon. Or,
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's some foul language sometimes, but like that's fine.
Sure.
That doesn't bother me. So I'm
Yeah.
a I'm a young parent, so
Yeah. And I feel like now, like especially like currently, that's way less taboo than it used to be. You know, like it's fine to swear. Really, just I don't know. Just also
Just
make sure
not
you
at
ask
people.
just not at people. Yeah, not at people. Don't.
Yeah.
It's cool
Use
that
it to
way.
express yourself. That's our rules, anyways.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
That's really cool to hear.
Yeah, and it's I just to kind of like piggyback off that, like you said about Pokemon, kind of, I guess fitting like a great balance between like adults and kids in that way. I think definitely part of that just, I mean, it comes from like the franchising itself in general. I think it's the way they've learned how to market it in a way that like, you know, hits a certain nostalgia button, hits a certain level of like, you know, the adults want to get into it and play it, and want to play it because, you know, kids get better at it and kids grow with it too, you know. And I think that's always really cool. It's way different than like, I guess like Yu-Gi-Oh as an example, where like Yu-Gi-Oh is just very much like, especially in the past, it's just like crazy monsters and stuff like that, and it appealed to kids, but it, like only at like a kitchen table level, really and truly. And like a lot of kids didn't get into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, and you always see like it's always adults in that kind of sphere for that game. And I think it's continued that way, unfortunately, for that card game. You can see it with like the shift towards like just heavy use of like anime characters and
is there any
robots.
like is there any other like stuff in the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise? Is there a show anymore that they still make?
I don't think there's a current anime or manga,
because I had a deck at one point.
Yeah,
I had a small collection when the show was on.
Yeah,
because I'm 35.
I mean, like it was one of those games where even as a kid, I only like I didn't get anywhere beyond kitchen table for that personally. Like, I got a little competitive at it, but I never like went to like leagues or tournaments or anything.
Didn't Zach play Yu-Gi-Oh? Didn't he?
Yeah, they did.
Didn't they?
Yeah.
And then James.
And so did James.
So.
Yeah. So did James. James
did
did really well for a long
James was
time.
bananas at Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
James is so good. He's so amazing.
Is insanely good as a player. It always
there's a few players in this local scene that I'm just like, there's a lot. Everyone's fairly talented, but there's a few players where I've just like never come even close to beating them. James is one of them. I think I may have beat him once on like a fluke, like he just bricked really bad or something. But like in a like normal game, can't even touch him. Yeah. Riley's another one. I haven't played Riley very many times, but when I have, it's like not been pretty for me.
Oh man.
By the way, to answer your question, Yu-Gi-Oh anime is still ongoing. The current series, Yu-Gi-Oh Rush, just ended in April.
Is it in English?
I have no idea.
I've never heard of that.
The last.
I mean, I'm not a big anime watcher in general, but
that's fair. The last of that series, like any Yu-Gi-Oh series I remember hearing about was I think it was Arc B or something like that, which is like, it's so weird to like know these names because it was like the fifth one. It was like the fifth series that they did.
I was never into Yu-Gi-Oh, but I remember hearing about it, and the last one I remember hearing about was 5Ds. So
card games on motorcycles, dude.
Yeah, which was like, I think that's like right after like the Akira slide became popularized, and they're like, we need to use this with Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, 100%.
Find a way to put the Akira slide in now.
I don't know who came up with the idea for it. I don't know who at Konami said card games on motorcycles is a cool idea, but someone at Konami said that, and I mean it was eaten up. It was huge.
But the wind and the paper and like
I don't know. Apparently there's like special high tech magic or something like that, and it's also like 100 years in the future of like the the first two arcs or first two seasons between like was it the main series and the dual academy.
So
whatever
Yugi's
stuff.
dead, is what you're telling me.
Yeah. Yugi's dead.
He's long dead.
Joey's dead. Everyone's dead. It's yeah.
Classic.
Apparently,
nothing keeps the franchise alive and kicking, like killing off all the original characters.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey,
That's Star Wars. That worked out great for them.
I don't know. I mean,
Game of Thrones did pretty well.
Yeah,
that's true. That's
Up
like
until
their
the
whole
end.
thing, though.
Yeah. That's true.
Pokemon seems to be doing pretty well right now, and they've removed
True.
Ash
is no longer around.
entirely. Ash has been gone for
Get him
what,
outta
2 years now?
No
Something
way,
like
it's been 2 years.
Has it been 2 years? Maybe I
But he's
might be
not. He's
completely
not
off base.
dead though. He's not.
No, he's not dead. He's honestly though, he's effectively dead in the series, like until they like decide to bring him back somehow.
Fair
But
enough,
he's like,
yeah.
it's like, yeah, he's written off,
that was
you
March
know?
2023. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's too okay. It's just been.
Ah, it
2
has
years.
been
It's
2
just
years?
been 2 years.
Oh my god.
I remember it took
Holy
forever for the English Horizons to actually come to Netflix. I
Yeah,
felt like it took
yeah.
way longer than it was going to.
Wild.
That was right in the middle of like the writer strike, so I think that's part of
Oh, that's right.
part of
That
why
tracks.
it was taken so long to get like English dubs and everything like that done for it.
Little SAG-AFTRA.
Oof. Yeah. Oh
so
man.
wild.
I guess I don't want to stall this out too long. Before we close out, two more questions really, I guess, because I think
Sure.
I think when we touched on it, we touched on some stuff earlier, but I don't think we ever got a set answer. What was what's been your favorite Pokemon deck to play as a TCG player? And how about Hank's too, actually?
Yeah.
Ugh.
So we know you're a
Does it have
huge
to be
Roaring
good?
Moon enjoyer. No,
It does not have to be good.
It can be
just be your favorite.
an absolutely a dumpster fire of a deck.
So
Trust me, I love
one of the
those.
decks. One of the decks I've had I had the most fun with at one point was the Pika clones. I called it from like Silver Tempest.
It's a Togedemaru and
Yeah.
then Morpeko.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun, and if it worked, it actually did really well against Mew because
Ooh.
it's too many cards to knock out, and you can end it. Your final hit can be with a Dark type, which can like,
Ooh.
okay,
Okay.
hit for weakness. So
Yeah.
it was never going to be good. It never was good, but it had some like decent days. At one point, I did this in a couple single prize decks. I started running 2 Drapion Vs. Also, just to not have to worry about because you know, Glenn, you were there. You were
Yeah, I was
You're
one of the
guilty.
perpetrators.
but there would be days where
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
Now it's back to Polt again. And it appears
Oh, no.
I think we may have lost him again. All right.
There we
I
go.
think we're back for
Now
real
it's
this
good.
time.
Now it's good.
Holy smokes. Before it happens again, tell us what you were saying. We were talking about the meta shifting all the time with Mew and Dragapult.
yes. Yes. So yeah, there's always a deck you're gonna have to play with. So when I was running the Pika clones, I just stuck 2 Drapion in my deck because everybody expects 1, but nobody expects 2. So
True.
Yeah.
Because often I'd put 1 down, knock something out, it would get lost zoned.
Lost City. A
And
Lost
I'd
City
pull
check
out
for
another one and
Drapion.
lost zone them right back.
Yep.
No.
Yep. That's how
Oh
it goes.
jeez. Yeah, it makes
Um,
sense. It's always good to have
But
a
then
counter there.
as far as that's probably my favorite bad deck. My favorite good deck, and probably the one I did the best with, it was probably Paradox Rift, Roaring Moon.
The go.
Yes.
What a good deck.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up doing well at regionals. I got to I dropped in 8 or 9.
Nice.
Nice.
I think I was 6-3-1,
That's
Yeah.
really good.
something like that.
That's awesome.
And I was very proud of myself because I didn't think I was going to do that well. But I think, and Shane had given the advice that he thought that was a sleeper pick for that regional. I think he was right.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was able to handle most of the major threats. That I was most worried about walls, but that didn't really come up. Like I think you guys talked about that too. Like we all thought there was going to be a lot of walls, and I didn't see a single one.
Wait, was that Atlanta?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, you just played it to Atlanta. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
Because I played Moon in Atlanta, Poison Moon.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah, sorry.
You had said the Paradox Rift one, and I was like, you played Paradox Rift Moon to Atlanta?
Yeah, I got disqualified for that one.
How'd you manage that?
Oh man. But yeah.
But no, just Moon in general. I liked. That was a bad segue on my part. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
That's my ADHD brain late in the day. So
yeah, we get it.
But and I do like Moon because Moon's awesome. But I think I might be done with Moon for a while, just because I think regionals does that to you as a player when you have to play a deck upwards of 25 games in a row. You're like, oh my god, anything but this. But I've been playing. I think, and this is a controversial statement, and I'm hardly qualified to make it. I think Zorak is one of the best decks in play right now.
It's pretty good
because it handles so much.
Mm-hmm.
It can struggle against certain things.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest struggle actually is a mirror. Right, my third round or fourth round on Friday was against a new guy, JC, who's super nice, by the way. If you make it to rally, you were there, weren't you, Johnny?
Yeah.
He was. We sat next to each other at one point.
He was he? Yeah, he was super new, right? A couple of weeks in.
Yeah, he's been 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
But he's been playing like funky stuff in his ends. Like last time I played against him, he had Clink Clang in there.
Yeah.
For the big damage. And then this time he had Purloin and Joltik.
Yeah.
And Sigilif. He had Sigilif. Sigilif! He won a game with it.
Yeah.
He won one of his games with it.
It's super sick.
That's awesome.
As someone I don't want to like hijack it too much, but I will say as it's really cool to see a new player come in and learn a deck, especially one in where it's not an easy one to pilot. It's not an easy one to learn. I certainly would do terrible with it, I think. But it's really cool to see someone come in and take that and just hit the ground running. He got me. I managed to get him to a tie in that deck. I was playing Blissey. And I managed to get him to a tie because I was I recognized early on, I was I can't win unless I use Cornerstone in this matchup. Blissey has a terrible matchup into this. So
yeah, because Blissey only does 120, right?
180.
160. Oh. It's low. I know it's fairly low.
It's still pretty low. It's not enough, and you risk getting countered really easily with Virtuous Flame, the bigger. It's a
Rage
virtue.
The retro ram first attack.
Yeah, the one that just takes whatever it does and does whatever damage counters on it and
doubles
swings back
it.
double. Yeah, that's just
Explode.
pretty much. And just Blissey can't handle that. 180 means that a Blissey has to have rigid band on it, and he was playing Monkey, so that he's going to be able to beat out the rigid band damage very easily. Yeah, it's just one of those things. I was ooh, this isn't a good matchup for me. And then I got him down to we went to turns, and he very unfortunately monkeyed damage away from one of his Pokemon to knock out one of my Monkey Dories.
And he couldn't do the damage.
He couldn't use Darman. No, he had Darmanitan active with reversal energy on it. And he tied us up on prizes when he did that. And if he hadn't monkeyed the damage away, we looked at the board state afterwards, and he was yeah, I think if I hadn't done that, he's I think I would have won. And I looked at it and I'm yeah, you would have. You would have absolutely won if you had,
because he couldn't use the reversal.
Yeah. It was so unfortunate for him.
Rough. That's something I would do.
Man, but yeah.
But you were saying that Ends is probably one of the best decks right now. Right,
I just think it's so flexible, and it's there's not a lot right now that can get to that 280 without weakness.
Yeah, 280 is an awkward number.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, it's a big number. It's an awkward number, and if you get anything less than that, they're going to come back at you with a lot of damage.
Yeah,
a lot. And the other thing is, there's a lot of support type Pokemon that are weak to weak to dark,
Yes.
like Monkey Dory. And a lot of people will put a Monkey Dory up in the active, thinking that I'm not gonna flame body cannon it, but like I'm gonna hit it for weekness, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Mew is a great one. If you want a 3-prize turn, just pull their Mew up. You know, there's a lot of those.
You can flame body cannon and just knock out Mew. That's crazy
because it hits for weakness.
Oh,
even now
it's a dark Pokemon.
Even now with the Destined Rivals format, I know I've seen like some people say like you could run like Mewtwo into ends and like do okay since Mewtwo can swing like the 280, but Mewtwo also has the dark weakness, so like it's not actually as clean.
You don't even need to use Flame Body. You can just use Virtuous Flame.
Yep. You just swing the 170 and it doubles, so you're good. And that even hits Mewtwo with Charm, which is like Mewtwo with Charm is 330, which is enormous for a basic Pokemon. So like it's
is Mewtwo's 270?
280. It sits at 280. So yeah,
it's
330.
230.
Yeah.
Jeez. Oh yeah, Charm.
Yeah, 330 with the Charm. So it's like it's just kind of chunky, but like just the fact that like Zoroark still can cleanly deal with that, even at like a round number disadvantage, and the Mewtwo has to work so much harder, I think, to like take that KO in comparison. So
yeah. And I haven't played it in. I don't consider live games to be like real because I think they screw around with like your draws and stuff.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And
the RNG is not true RNG.
No, and the player, you never know what the player quality is actually going to be.
Spotify RNG.
But like I haven't probably played it into enough of the meta yet to really definitively say that. I just feel like I've done well with it, and it surprised me. I thought it was going to take a lot longer for me to do okay with the deck. One I really want to try that I've screwed around with in live, and this is another dumb idea that I've had, is LDF did a video on the Mousehold EX deck.
Yes.
Dude, it's so fun. Oh my god.
It's even better now with Spike, right?
All right, so if you have it runs 2/2 Lycanroc and 4 spikes.
Ooh.
You finish with I did like 800 damage to something.
Oh my god, the Lycanroc is deceptively strong.
Yeah, so all right, so if you have Deluxe Bomb, 2 Spike,
okay,
right? We're at 160.
Yeah.
A full board of Mousehold EX response damage. That's another 120.
Oh my god.
We're getting some pretty big numbers already.
Those are big numbers.
Just get punched.
And even if you don't. Oh, and then of course its own attack does like, it's not much, but it's like 120 damage or 100 damage or something.
And you draw cards. Nothing. You draw cards off.
Yeah, and you draw 2 cards. Yeah. If I can find some Mouseholds, I might bring that sometime.
That'd be lit.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd love to see that.
100%.
Actually, one of the first decks I built for Hank, and I didn't know what was good at the time, but like it was it eventually it evolved into a Lugia deck, but it started out, it ran 4 Chestnut V, which had basically the same thing. It was I think it was 3 damage counters for each Chestnut on the board if you attacked one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they gave it a garbage attack, so it was never that good, but that was one of the first like abilities that like caught my eye because I like stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, you gotta run the you definitely gotta run that which one is it? There it is. Yeah, the Paul or the is it Scarlet Violet base Mousehold in there too. The one that does the family attack 70 for each Mousehold in play.
Well, there's another. Actually, I just realized. I think it was the Surging Sparks, maybe one of the more recent ones has an attack that lets you put them on the bench without evolving them.
Yeah, Familial March,
which could actually be pretty good if you can get out like a throw down some Terra and use Area 0 and then.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm getting into like crazy talk.
Oh no! So. But I mean that's cool. I've
it's Mousehold, man. It's all crazy talk.
The Familial March one is really cool because you can just it's like one of those Pokemon that's like close to like a Yu-Gi-Oh card where it's like its attack is like get dudes out of the cheat and evolution out of the deck, and into play. And
I love cheating evolutions. I've tried I've tried so many evolution cheat decks, and they're never that good.
Rest
There's
in peace, Radiant Eternatus.
Rabska does it.
Yeah.
There's Rayniculus. I don't know how to say that
Yes.
Pokemon's
Reuniclus,
name.
Yeah, I love that dude.
Does
I love
it?
that dude.
Tatsugiri EX.
Tatsu EX.
Yep, Tatsugiri EX.
Tatsu EX.
There you go.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
That is a fun mechanic. I like it a lot.
That's one I want to try soon.
Yeah,
That'd be really
absolutely.
I'm too scared to bring. I'm too scared to bring my metronome deck. It's just not gonna be good. It's Clefable, Twilight Masquerade's Clefable, and
Yeah.
now you can add Lily's Clefairy.
Well, for what it's worth, I know we've been kind of GLC pilling you and Hank a little bit.
I know it's gonna happen eventually.
Metronome.
Hank played at GSG a few weeks ago.
It's so fun,
and he was like, "I really want to do that. I want to try that. I want to get into GLC."
It's so fun.
Like, man, I just gave away a bunch of my good trainer cards to everybody.
No.
I will say, if you do decide to do it, there is a solid psychic metronome deck. The psychic mirror GLC that just is like a bunch of dudes that have copycat attacks as their attacks. There's a
I kind of want to try Glenn's game show deck. That sounds like a lot of fun.
I still gotta finish it. I've got some more pieces coming together. I'm working on it. I need the Black Bolt White Flare Gothitelle to come together so that I can get that going. I think that'll be the last. That's the key to all of it. That's a really dumb reference. That's a George Lucas reference. Never mind. Jar Jar's the key to all of this. We can just get Jar Jar working. But yeah, I'm really excited about the game show deck. I'm this close. I need the new Gothitelle, and then I think we're cooking. I just got and like a trick shovel and a couple of other random staples.
Yeah,
it's gonna be.
Pokemon needs more like weird cards. I feel like that, and they've had them throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I saw a Magic card that I was like, man, Pokemon needs something like that, and it was basically I can't remember the name of it. It was some blue sorcery or something, and it was basically like ask a person outside the game to pick a card from your hand or something. I'll find it. I'll send it to you later.
So
that rocks. Oh, that's so good. I like that. Like some cards are like roll dice. They're fun, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
So interesting.
Oh, I pulled one of the or I bought one of the what's the little Doduo that you sing and throw across the room?
Oh my gosh.
What's his name? I just bought it when I got that Onyx.
You said it's Doduo? Is it? It's not Blaine's Doduo. What's his name?
It's the one of the music people.
Is it Imakuni?
Yeah, Imakuni. That's
Imakuni's Doduo.
Yes.
Where it's got like when it retreats, hold it and throw it as hard as you can because Doduo is running away with the core horizontally with the snap to get the farthest distance.
That's so
I love
cool.
that card. I finally got one, but
that's awesome. The Imakuni stuff is so sick.
That kind of the Pokemon, the stuff with like just interaction stuff always reminds me. There's this was a little before I like stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh as a kid. There was a card that came out called Yu-Jo Friendship, and it's like the card's got a picture of like Yugi and Joey like doing like their little like handshake fist bump thing. But the card's text says offer your opponent a handshake. If they accept your handshake, each player's life points become half the combined life points of both players. But there's an extra line of text in there that says if you have another card called Unity, which is like another of these like anime character like background ones, it says if you have the card Unity in your hand and show it to your opponent, they must accept the handshake. And it's your opponent you physically force your opponent to handshake with you, which means like you can play it in like a tournament setting, and if your opponent doesn't want to do it, you can get them like DQ for that kind of stuff. It's like stupid. It's really stupid because like I mean Yu-Gi-Oh players are like salty as all heck and
no way
absolutely like refuse.
Who would
have
guessed?
But like it's really
to be fair, I wouldn't want to shake a Yu-Gi-Oh player's hand.
100%. Yeah, no, absolutely not. But it's always cool when you have stuff like that where it's like
I love silly effects.
Here's an interaction between players that goes beyond the cards. So yeah, always really cool. Oh man, cool. I feel like we hijacked the last little bit here. So I don't wanna pull it up too much.
To go back to what you said about GLC though, like I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
I'll get into it eventually.
Literally ask Sky to borrow a deck.
Yeah,
you're good.
I know. That's my plan. That's my
Guy
plan.
the goat.
Like if I ever wanted to try, I just know think about it too hard, and Sky's gonna like text me or something.
Sky's the local dealer, man. He'll know when
I
he's
know.
who like I heard you were thinking about playing GLC.
At this point, I've got enough of like the dark cards. I can probably build like a half. I can at least build together like the Pokemon for like a dark poison deck for you now. With the
I do like
fish
dark
and the Dragalge.
Well, and I've always kind of complained casually about. I wish there was a format that let you use all the bad cards that you don't see in like metagames, because there's so many cool cards that never see play. And that kind of cube thing they tried out at the last regional, I put that together. I haven't played with it yet, but the card choices were kind of bad in my opinion. But it kind of seeks to do that. Where it's not like you're not using bad cards necessarily. It's just cards you wouldn't otherwise normally use because they're not good enough. And I think that I probably just need to do GLC because that's pretty much what that does.
That's about the closest like openly played format it feels like that's like that. I don't think you're going to find too much else unless you find people who are putting together specific cubes or something like that.
Yeah. Well, and because expanded is not the same because it adds in all the big stuff like the
expanded
GXs
is just
and
Reggie
all that.
Drago. There's Reggie Drago rotated out and expanded is still playing it, and I don't think they're going to stop playing it because Reggie Drago is broken.
Yeah,
that card is broken.
Well, and I've found some Reddit posts that kind of had the same thought of like, well, what if they just made a single prize format? But like apparently that messes with the balance. That's what most people argue. Like the cards weren't designed around that, which I'm not sure I necessarily agree with.
Prize with
like no rule boxes at all. Just like not singleton necessarily.
But only single prize Pokemon.
Yeah. So
I don't know about that. I think that's
I don't necessarily agree.
That's Reddit code. That's not real.
Average Redditor.
Oh man.
Truly.
Yeah.
Oh wow, it's already been an hour and a half. Holy smokes. With the technical stuff.
With it all. Oh jeez.
I think we got one more question for you.
Yeah.
Johnny, do you want to take this one as well?
Yeah, sure. I guess to kind of like round this all off, do you have any advice for new parents in the Pokemon community? People like me who are going to be new very soon, people who are
Johnny, like
new to Pokemon as parents with kids wanting to get involved, and just kind of all that together,
Oh yeah, that's an interesting one for people who are having children in that way, new parents in that way, like
people who are new parents, not specifically.
Just keep your head above water.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask for help. Go to therapy. All that stuff.
Therapy's so good.
Sleep when you can.
Lots of caffeine.
Lots of caffeine.
I don't know. I'm not a parent.
But actually, for the parents entering into Pokemon with their kids who aren't necessarily people who grew up with it, I think that is a little challenging because they don't understand it. And there's a much larger group of kids and like masters, juniors and masters, or not. You know what I'm saying? Seniors and juniors. At Rally Squirrel in the last few months, and a lot of their parents come with them, and some of them play. Some of them don't, but most of them are at least involved. I think a few of them actually jumped into the pre-release last week.
I remember that,
which I thought was neat.
Yeah.
I got because but it is hard because it's hard to learn a game if you're not a gamer. Like games like Pokemon are hard to learn if you don't play games of that type. Like we can sit down and pick up probably most TCGs and have a pretty good understanding of it relatively quickly. Whereas if you never play stuff like that and you try to sit down and understand it, it might be kind of tricky. And I think a lot of people go in with the mentality that it's a kid's thing. And while it is at its heart a kid's thing, it's not. Some of those kids have grown up. And are still doing it, and that's like okay, and you you can join in too and still be a grown up, and it's fine.
Yeah.
You know,
There's
Absolutely.
space for adults in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, there's space. Exactly, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah. That's why you make $10,000 from winning a regional.
Yeah.
right.
I mean, you know,
They got the travel.
I think
benefits and
I
stuff.
have to. I think I gotta head out. I hear some drama unfolding. So
gotcha.
no.
Well, thank you
Help out
so
with
much.
that.
We won't hold you up too much longer. Thank you again. So
Thanks
much
for having me
coming
on, man. This is super fun. Yeah, I'd love to do it
absolutely.
again.
For sure. Definitely gonna keep you on speed dial because it's always good conversation with you, and I appreciate your insight. That's all we got. I don't want to hold powers up. So to everybody else, before you go, do you have any like socials you want to shout out, or do you want people to not follow you? Do you want to? Okay, cool.
I'm only on Facebook and Instagram, and I don't ever post on Instagram. So
cool. Well,
and I'm private anyway. So
awesome. Well, until next time, that's all we've got. Thank you guys so much for coming out and listening and watching.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
See you in the next one. Peace out.
All right, have a good one.